In a previous video, I noted how causal claims are always introduced by causal language, but that was a slight exaggeration. There are definitely some cases in which an argument is going from correlation to cause, but the conclusion doesn't explicitly use any causal language. In these cases, what's happening is that the argument is assuming a causal relationship, but then going further and concluding something else that's based on that assumption. For example, take this argument. People who use electric toothbrushes tend to have fewer cavities than people who use regular toothbrushes. So, since you need to reduce your number of cavities, you should start using an electric toothbrush. The first sentence gives us a correlation between electric toothbrushes and fewer cavities. And then we get another premise that says you need to reduce your cavities, and the conclusion says you should start using an electric toothbrush. Notice how this conclusion doesn't explicitly say, I think electric toothbrushes cause you to have fewer cavities. It doesn't explicitly say, I think this correlation is explained by the fact that electric toothbrushes cause fewer cavities. But this is definitely something that's being assumed by the author. The author has this explanation for the correlation in their mind, which is why they then recommend using an electric toothbrush. It wouldn't make sense for them to recommend using an electric toothbrush if they didn't think that there was this causal relationship. So that means that if you want to weaken or strengthen this argument, you can do so in all of the same ways as you would as if the conclusion had said, thus, using electric toothbrushes must cause fewer cavities. For example, you'd weaken the argument by pointing out, maybe the kind of person who uses electric toothbrushes is more likely to pay more attention to the health of their teeth. They're going to brush better, they're going to take better care of their teeth, eat fewer sugary substances, and maybe it's this behavior that actually leads to fewer cavities, not the electric toothbrush. Introducing this explanation would weaken the argument, and saying that this is not true, that those people don't take better care of their teeth, would strengthen this argument. Here's another example. Sales of the video game Blood Rage 3 were unusually high immediately after a popular actor endorsed it. Thus, it's clear that some people value the opinion of celebrities. Now, some people might look at this argument and start thinking, isn't this assuming that a popular actor is a celebrity? And where did this idea of valuing the opinion come from? Are we sure that anyone is actually valuing the actor's opinion? But these questions are completely missing the central issue. The central issue is that the stimulus gives us a correlation. And the conclusion, although it doesn't explicitly say anything about what explains this correlation, it's based on the assumption that the actor's endorsement caused the unusually high sales. And it's because of that causal assumption that the author of the argument goes on to say that some people value a celebrity's opinion. The author is referring to the people that she thinks bought the game because of the actor. So if you want to strengthen or weaken this argument, you'd want to think about alternate explanations for why there was this increase in sales. Maybe right after the actor's endorsement, there was a sharp discount on this game. If there was, then that could be the reason for the spike in sales. So you would weaken the argument by bringing this explanation up, and you would strengthen the argument by eliminating this possibility. Here's the practical advice that you can take away. When you're reading an argument and you see a correlation in the premise or an observation that could be something that the author might go on to propose an explanation for, then even if the conclusion doesn't explicitly say, I think there's a causal relationship, make sure to ask whether their conclusion is based on the assumption that there's a causal relationship. Where is this conclusion coming from? Do they have an interpretation of this statistic that's causal? These are some of the questions you should be asking yourself.